Looks like the boys going through a finishing drill here. Fantastic save that was. Yeah, Marc-Andre ter Stegen there. So feel free in chat to give us your predictions for these upcoming friendlies. How will Germany fare in Lyon against France on Saturday? And how will they do against the Netherlands on the 26th of this month, excuse me, against the Netherlands? Give us some scoreline predictions, maybe even some starting 11 predictions as well. As we see young Musiala, he'll have a big part to play in both those games. He definitely, for me, is one of the young players in this Germany team that gets me most excited about the future and about the Euros. I think if he can have a standout tournament, then Germany could really do well and perhaps catch a lot of people by surprise. Also, let us know how you think Germany are going to do at the tournament. A reminder of when they start, the 14th of June will be their first game to kick off the action in Group A. Germany taking on Scotland, before they then play Hungary on the 19th of June and then Switzerland on the 23rd of June. 3 games that I personally think Germany probably could and probably should be winning, and could find themselves through to the knockout stages after 2 matches played if they manage to get some wins together against Scotland and Hungary. Chris, thank you for joining us here in the chat as well. Course role really going to be interesting. The squad certainly wasn't lacking any quality in midfield. Yeah, definitely. It will be interesting to see what sort of a role he'll have. Would it be a playing role? Will he be a regular in that midfield, or has he been brought in to sort of use that experience, that knowledge, that intelligence, and sort of transfer it over to some of the younger players? Will he be more of a guide, or someone to look up to, or will he really be out there doing the business? We'll have to wait and see. Greetings from Berlin, Germany. Greetings straight back to you there. Thank you for joining us as well. Benjamin Pauli believes it will be a tough group, but that Germany have the quality to go through for sure. EK Universe: I think an informed Germany team should win the Euros. I just wonder how effective Nagelsmann's tactics will be. Well, I think we're all eager to see what the tactics will be, what the formations used will be, what the starting lineup will be, what that final squad selection will be. Still so many question marks hanging over the Euros in terms of what Team Germany and Julian Nagelsmann will do. Of course, some big teams in that tournament as well. The likes of England have a fantastic squad. They've been looking very strong in recent tournaments. France, of course, always a threat. Spain, another team that you can't really count out. I mean, Croatia, a team that just seems to live for international tournaments and always seems to go far. It really is incredible how such a small country with such a small population continues to develop such incredible international teams at senior and youth level as well. Who else have we got in the mix? Belgium, perhaps, in terms of players available and strength in depth. I mean, Belgium, always a name you have to pull out of the hat, but will this be the year they finally sort of live up to those expectations. They've been underwhelming, to say the least, with the squad they've had available. The likes of KDB and well, I mean, you could just go on and on and on, even during the times of Eden Hazard. They never really lived up to expectations, so could this be the year? They are in a group where you feel they do have a very good chance of advancing. Belgium with Slovakia and Romania down in Group E, as well as the playoff winner, whoever that may be. Portugal is a bit of a dark horse, if you ask me. I think if you look at their squad and the players they have available, also the group they're in, I think they've got a really good chance of advancing to the knockout stages. And then once there, I think people forget they are very experienced at these Euros tournaments. They're always in the mix in the later stages, so it will be really interesting to see how Germany fare against everyone else. But first off, they need to get through that Group A, and I think their chances of doing that are relatively high. Let's take another look at some of the comments here. Course comeback helps to bring hierarchy in central midfield. Kimmich Goretzka didn't work anymore, therefore Kroos with a dedicated defensive midfielder like Andrich really helps. A great point there by Björn Bombastic. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Definitely, I think there's so much that Kroos brings to this team, whether he plays or not. I think just having him in and amongst the other players can only be a positive thing. And personally, I think he's still got plenty to give out on the pitch as well, when put together with a right combination of other midfielders. A nice balance of experience and youth could be really effective for Germany. Anza Karim is the line behind Füllkrug going to be Musiala, Müller and Wirtz. For me, amazing decision if Nagelsmann goes with it. Yeah, again, that attacking third, so many different combinations you can have there as well. Will be really interesting to see what Nagelsmann tries out in these next few friendlies, and then what he goes for come the Euros in the summer. Could be very different, of course. Remember Nagelsmann saying the door is still wide open to everyone, and the end of the season for players will be instrumental in terms of his team selection. He's already shown with his selection for these two friendlies that he's going with players who are in form rather than the big names, the usual names you might expect. So already taking a bold step in terms of selection there, something that I personally am a fan of. I think he should always go with informed players and then back that up with a handful of experienced players as well. But that's just my opinion, and I'm here commentating the live training session while Julian Nagelsmann is out there actually conducting the training session. That's the difference. That's why he gets paid the big bucks, and that's why he makes all the big decisions. Back to the chats. Germany should really take their chances and score. They work hard and create, but seem not to score. I hope they'll work on it in training for sure. Edward Mochiri, thank you for that input. Yeah, definitely they've sort of been lacking a little in front of goal. Of course, such a rich history of amazing goal scorers. Thomas Müller, who is in the squad, is probably the standout player and the most reliable in that department. Currently, Maximilian Bayer, Niklas Füllkrug, Kai Havertz and Dennis Undav, the other strikers available to Nagelsmann for these two friendlies. Be interesting to see if any of them can perhaps get the ball rolling in terms of finding the back of the net again. Has rarely been a problem for German national teams, but has been a slight issue in recent times. So I do agree with you there, and that will be something I'm sure Nagelsmann will be trying to unlock in the coming days, weeks, months, building up to the Euros. Leonardo Hudilis, why speak English and no German? So you currently find yourself on the German football page, which is the English speaking DFB channel for everything that is German national team and DFB. You will have it in English here if you prefer a German stream, you can of course find that as well. Just search for DFB instead of German football, and that will take you to the German channel. Everyone else also helping out in chat as well. Thank you for passing on that information with me and for me. So Gabriel Candablanco putting up his most likely lineup against France. Neuer in goal, then Kimmich, Tah, Rüdiger and Raum at the back. Gündoğan, Kroos, Musiala, Wirtz, Müller and Füllkrug up front. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a tasty lineup if you ask me. And again, it has that balance, doesn't it? You've got the likes of Musiala in that young freshness, and then the experience of Kroos and Müller, not to mention Neuer in goal as well. And Kimmich, although you probably wouldn't necessarily call him part of the old guard, he certainly has been in and amongst the old guard longest. And although he's in his prime right now, he's probably one of the more experienced players. I think Tah and Rüdiger in central defence, that will definitely be the go-to. Nagelsmann stating that already in the press conferences. Speaking of press conferences, there is one at 1 o'clock Central European time today, so make sure to get involved with that as well. Hamza Karim, if Füllkrug doesn't start Saturday, who do you see as the striker? Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? I don't get the feeling Nagelsmann will start with Undav or Bayer. I certainly think they'll play a part. I think they'll possibly come off the bench, and then depending on performances there, could possibly get a start on Tuesday next week against the Netherlands. But against France, I can see Füllkrug probably getting the nod up front. If not Füllkrug, then lone striker with the likes of Havertz and Musiala in and around him, maybe like a front three that can sort of interchange and move positions, try and keep the French defence guessing a little bit. But I think Füllkrug will probably start, maybe with Müller in behind him, and then either Havertz and Musiala joining that front three, if it is a front three. We'll have to wait and see, but it's your guess is as good as mine, if I'm completely honest. I think Havertz probably deserves a start based on his recent form, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Füllkrug up there as well for the first game. Whether or not he'll start the second, I'm not so sure. I do think Nagelsmann will use these two friendlies to experiment a little bit, especially with the likes of Maximilian Bayer and Dennis Undav being called into the first team for the very first time. I would be surprised to not see them given an opportunity to impress the manager, but we'll have to wait and see there. Of course, with Andrich and Gündoğan, Timoner position will be better. Yeah. Well, I think Andrich certainly deserves a start, just with the way he's been performing with Leverkusen. I mean, what a season they've been having, and Andrich has played a big part in that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a lot of game time. EK Universe, I hope Leroy Sané makes the final squad. Well, he would have probably been in the squad, but his suspension after that red card against Austria in the last friendly before the new year, the last friendly that this German team played, was shown a red card in that game and is therefore suspended and therefore not part of the squad here. However, that does not mean he will not be part of the squad for the Euros. I think he's definitely a player that, well, he seems to have a bit of a love-hate relationship with a lot of fans, doesn't he? I mean, I think there's a lot of fans that perhaps feel he could perhaps do more with the talent he is blessed with the abilities he's gifted with. Others would say he's a must-have in the squad because of those abilities, those gifts. His speed is absolutely incredible. His explosiveness when on the ball, equally impressive. He's got an eye for goal as well. I think for me, the only downside to Leroy Sané is probably his lacking in consistency. I don't think we see him bring those match-winning performances week after week enough.